Welcome to the Massage Therapy Podcast. I'm Heather Rivers, registered massage therapist.
And I'm Nicole Andrews, registered massage therapist and contemporary medical acupuncturist.
We're colleagues with almost 13 years of combined experience and small business owners who have a passion for health and wellness. So be sure to grab your cup of tea, kick up your feet, and enjoy today's episode.
Welcome back. It's the MTP here. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing good. How are you, Heather?
Pretty good on this rainy but kind of sunny evening here in Ontario. It's been a weird day with that.
It has.
Yeah, and it's been a weird couple days as Ontario and RMTs know that we've gotten our call to come back to work. So it's been a little chaotic here. But we do have a guest on today. They reached out to me a couple days ago and were interested and brought some points to the table that they wanted to talk about, which Cole and I read them over and we're like, this is amazing. And we think that this will fit perfectly into this time of transition through the pandemic and getting started back up, almost kind of like you're new again. So we want to welcome Miranda Horvath from Massage by Mir Consulting. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. So Miranda's calling in from Alberta.
Yes.
They have a different setup than we do because you're not registered, but I'm sure you're part of a whole bunch of different groups. And you off mic were just saying you don't get you guys haven't gotten your call back from your provincial government yet.
Yes. So we have we're all registered, but we have a multiple, association bodies that we can choose from since we're not regulated with the rest of the province. And I think there's a couple other provinces like that too. Mm-hmm. And we are okay to go back to work as of June 19th right now, but it could change anytime, right?
Yeah.
They're saying it's phase 2 and it's all good, but only, on a day by day kind of basis, and it could change anytime. So I just started to book clients in, but I'm very clear that it is tentative.
Right. And you're probably going to be just like us, starting a little bit slower, maybe not going back to your full workload just right away per week and ease back into it.
Yeah, well, that's interesting is that I was working 4 days a week before, sometimes 5, but I like 4. And now I'm going back to work at 3 days a week and serving less clients a day than I normally do. But I'm thinking now, because of how this has gone and just the progress I've made with my online business, I'm actually wondering if I am going to go back to how I was before or what's going to change.
Yeah, for sure. So out of curiosity, how many were you seeing in a day?
6 a day.
6 a day. That's a pretty heavy day for sure. I'm usually exhausted after.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I'm with you, Miranda. I usually see 6 or 7. I work 3 days a week. So I'm like, let's put as many into one day as I can so I can be home. So.
Oh, 7. Wow. I know my body pretty well by now. And I think if I get to 6 or 6 hours and 15 minutes, then that's good. But as it gets to the 6.5 or longer, then I start to break down.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's back it up a little bit and give us a little bit of your background. Maybe as you're leaving school, what school you went to, how you even decided, what drew you to massage school, all of that.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting story. Like a lot of people have their own stories. So I am not in the pool of massage therapists that, they always knew they were going to be a healer and people told them they had magic hands and all this stuff. I kind of did it last minute. So I'm really surprised that I've ended up just running with it and being so as in love with it as I am, because I was actually set on being a musician. Yeah, I was really studying classical piano. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Royal Conservatory, but there's 10 levels. I was on the 10th level. And wow. And partway towards doing my level 10 exam. And so I had a different teacher for every topic. So I had a practical music teacher, a history music teacher, counterpoint theory, and I didn't have a car, so I was busing 3 or 4 days a week to all these different places on top of my full-time job and studying for a couple hours every evening, doing the drills, practical drills and stuff, finger drills. And then on the weekend, I'd practice about 4 or 5 hours to like make up for only being able to practice 2 hours during the week. Because when you get to that level, you're expected to be practicing at least several hours a day, right? So I was kind of doing this, and so you can imagine I'm working in an office too. So I'm sitting on my butt for 8 hours a day, and then I get 5 minutes of precious sunlight while I walk home, and then I'm sitting on my butt for another 3 hours in the evening, and I started to become kind of miserable with it. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have played instruments or musicians.
Yeah.
It seems like one of you.
I've played a lot of instruments. I started clarinet, and then I went into saxophone, and then guitar, and then I dabbled in like piano for a little while. Nothing is quite as amazing as you in that study of level, but yeah, I was always into bands and all of that, so I totally understand that.
For enough time to practice, right? Yeah, it's for an amazingly passionate person. I so admire musicians who are willing to, quit their jobs and live in a van and do that whole thing, because it takes so much guts,
It does.
And that's kind of where the kind of pivotal point where I got to. So I was playing piano and I was singing for a few years too, and I wanted to join the two, and I was thinking how I could make that happen. My first kind of entrepreneur gig on the side was to make money. I would do mobile piano lessons. So I would take my keyboard and some books, and I would drive around town, and I was teaching small children for a year or so. And so I was at this point where I'm kind of miserable because I'm practicing all the time, but it's not anything that I want to practice, right? It's all like the classical pieces and stuff. So I kind of had like a real talk with myself. I think I was only 21. So knowing what I know now, I probably would have just said, hey, I can pivot and I can do music that I love instead. But at that time, I just got really frustrated with the whole thing and kind of disillusioned with piano in general. And I just decided I'm not really one of those people that's going to be willing to quit my job and live in a van and really do what I have to do to sacrifice and to make it real. So I thought I would leave that to the other musicians that are willing to do that. And I decided to shift. And so, I love working with my hands. I've been playing piano since I was 7 years old. And so I think I didn't really think of massage at all as an alternative, but I just fell in love with it right away. And I actually feel like I've become more of a natural in massage than I ever really was in piano. And it's still so creative. So it just fits perfectly.
That's awesome.
I find you hear that a lot with creatives, if it's musician, actor, artist, that massage really fits into that, and it's not a massive jump from one to the other, because massage can be dynamic and it can be fluid in the sense of your time. So you can work around all these, crazy schedules that aren't your typical 9 to 5. It can also fit around a 9 to 5 too, but it doesn't seem like such a massive jump for somebody who is so creative and so artistic and also the athletic minded. And it's almost like you're melding these two worlds together that, society when we were younger almost tried to split us apart, which I think is really cool that it brings us back together the way it should be. So how long ago did you graduate and start your practice?
Yeah, so I graduated in middle of the year 2016. So I've been massaging for about 4 years now. I was also not one of those massage therapists that found like that one first clinic and they loved it and they stayed there, I bounced around a little bit, and I had some positive and negative experiences, and I've worked at, spas and gyms and chiro clinics, and I have my own independent space now. I work as part of a team and do a lot of teamwork with them as well, but it's very much independent. I call myself, Massage by Mir company. I book clients off, my social media as Massage by Mir, that kind of thing. So I really love the blend of where I am now because it's part of a team and I can still be a part of a team, but it's also very independent and I'm very free. And with my contract is very free as well. So yeah, I've been doing it for 4 years and like I said, I bounced around a little bit. I thought it was maybe me for a while, but I've come to find that I'm just that type of person that's always been a leader, and I love to educate, and I love to be independent, and I hate being micromanaged. So it's nice to finally be able to work your schedule and find what fits for you, right?
We can both relate on the bouncing around and the trying to find your own fit. And then like you, we both ended up totally on our own independent. We work cohesively in one space, but we work together cohesively on things like this whole going back to work and having to do all those things. But like it's totally independent booking, independent clients, and all of that. So I love that you say that because I think a lot of RMTs are sort of finding that we can have that dynamic that's together but apart, and it seems to really work for a lot of us. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, I love that setup. I love that you can have the best of both worlds. You can be a part of a team and work cohesively, but you can also be really independent.
Yeah, for sure.
So is your team that you work with all other massage therapists, or is it a multidisciplinary physical space as well?
It's a multidisciplinary clinic. There's chiropractors mostly. It's heavily emphasized on acupuncture and herbal medicine and massage therapy.
That's amazing because we find here in Ontario very much multidisciplinary clinics when they involve chiropractors. I'm not trying to single them out, but it seems like massage is brought in as almost either an afterthought or an employee that like works under their umbrella, not necessarily in the setup you have or similar to what we have, where you may be sharing the physical space, but you are separate companies. So I love that. I love that because then I find you and them can be seen as more peers and collaborate more as peers instead of having this power dynamic. So that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel that too. I feel like everyone on our team works as a team and there isn't that weird power dynamic where the chiropractors are better than the massage therapists or acupuncturists or anything like that, right? And we really do share each other's charts and we talk about clients and how to best serve them. It's not like I'm following his treatment plan. So I like that.
That's amazing. So loving the clinic, loving the space you're in, you're loving serving the clients you're serving. And then at what point did you pivot to this other part of your company, Massage by Mir?
Yeah, it didn't start out as Massage by Mir. I was working so after about 3 years or so massaging, I was very busy. I was booked anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks in advance for clients to see me. I was in that nice cozy space where I'm working the hours I want, the schedule I want. And I have clients that are loyal to me and they care about growing my practice as well. They're great. They are respectful. I have very little, cancellations and all those same day cancellations and the slow seasons and all those things that we don't like, right? So I was feeling really good about that, about the fact that I had built this practice to be exactly what I wanted it to be. And it was really cool because I had been achieving something like that or trying to unintentionally. And I was kind of moving in that direction where I was becoming really busy. At other clinics that I had been at too, I've been always the busiest or one of the busiest, like very, very busy, very full schedule. Really had no problem putting myself out there to do events and to do the chair massage things and to collaborate with people. I really thrived and actually really loved that. And so I began to have other massage therapists that would ask me questions and advice and how do you fill your schedule so full and this kind of thing, right? And I guess I started to look at the next 3 to 5 years of my life after having achieved this and feeling comfortable doing this. And, you understand the intentional things that you are actually doing to make it this way, to make your service this way. It's not an accident. You start to understand, wow, I'm actually doing really well and you're feeling good about yourself. And I thought, I didn't know it was exactly going to be coaching or consulting, but I had this feeling like I'm ready to step up as an educator. I'm ready for something more. If this is what the next 3 years of my life is going to look like, I'm ready to advance and to do something that will complement this. I love having my hands in many different projects, right? And I love teaching and helping people. And I guess it just made sense, I think.
That's so cool. So you've transitioned a little bit into coaching and educating, but more focusing on massage therapists and helping them build their business?
Yes, I mostly am geared towards either like a fresh practitioner that's in the first fresh graduation or in the first couple years of post-graduation where they're still kind of learning all these things and learning the ropes and understanding business, or, possibly someone too that's maybe disillusioned or unhappy with their situation and they want to negotiate a better contract or a raise and higher commission, or they want to launch their own home-based business or contractor business. I help with that transition too.
So one thing we all wanted to touch on was what changes and transitions are going to come out of this pandemic. Where do you decipher the want and the need?
Yeah, it's been interesting because this pandemic has taught us so many things, right? It's taught me the importance of being able to be adaptable and finding other income streams, and how limited, although nothing can ever replace it, I think it also is limited in just the hands-on work.
We can slow down. And I think that's what this pandemic is also saying. Slow down, take a breath, look around. What you have is all you need.
Yeah, I so resonate with that. I can't believe how much money I've saved, even with not making any money. Like I'm so confused. I budget. Like I track my finances every day. I followed budget almost to a T for, I was really strict on it for a year before this. And I wasn't too strict on my budget. Like I would give myself, money to go out and money for the movies and stuff like that. But I was really strict on following it. And I just thought like, wow, I'm being so good. Like I'm saving so much money and stuff like that. And it was, it's always good to follow a budget, but just to have all of that spending opportunity taken away and to not see your friends anymore and to not be spending money on anything non-essential really has just made me realize how much money I actually did spend, even though I was following a budget. And it really makes me realize, like, I used to agonize over having a canceled client or having to give up a shift to do something important, or if I was going away, or for some reason you had to take some time off, right? I would almost feel like a little bit guilty. But now this just makes you realize how little you actually need to work. It's just you're right. We self-impose, we put this busyness on ourselves.
Yeah, that's again a conversation we had earlier, because we've come across some massage therapists that have said, they're struggling to make ends meet and struggling to get by, and they're burning out at 25 to 35 clients a week. And everybody's situation's different, and if that's what you need to do, that's great. But also at the same time, you are in a position, in a job where you can make it what you want. So maybe sit down and look at your budget, rebudget things, and say like, maybe my rent's too high. Maybe I need to renegotiate my commission or my split with the clinic I'm working at. Maybe I have to look at a new clinic space. Maybe I think about creating a work from home office part of the week, and then that's all your money and you're not paying any additional rental fees. You have the ability in this role to make it what you want. So if it's not fully working for you at 25 to 35 clients a week, there is a way for you to figure it out. Like I was just getting back and ramping up. My goal was 20 clients a week, but I was surviving between 10 and 15. We were getting by. It's how you, it's what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably where your consulting business comes in. I think a lot of RMTs right now are really like, I need to look at the core of my business and figure out how I can work smarter, not harder. And I need to know how I can turn that profit, because time is money, like into being something that I can manage, and I'm not having to burn myself out and be so incredibly tired and sore at the end of the week and then still feel like I'm not able to like go to the movies or take a day off with my kids or whatever it is, or go on that vacation I really want to because I can't save for it. So that's why I think Heather and I, maybe when like you contacted us, like, this is really, really awesome. We felt a lot of our listeners, and I think you did too, that could really benefit from this type of sort of conversation. We've had a lot of time to reflect on our businesses and our industry over the last few months, and I think a lot of us have really sort of like questioned if like the way that normal was is really the way that normal has to be. It wasn't working for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people finally opened up and had that conversation. And it's like, how do we make this better for all of us as like a group of massage therapists? Because we really kind of were being put in these like boxes, and a few of us were trying to like jump the mold and break that out. And but a lot of us don't have the training or knowledge or any idea like how to follow that direction. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's sort of like where a lot of like your coaching and consulting sort of comes in, right?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, it's funny that you say that, because I've had more consultations in the last 2 months than I have on
Amazing.
average in like the last few months of my business. So people are thinking about it. Like massage therapists are looking at their businesses, and people are making big, understandably, many of us are, feeling fearful and keeping the money tight, and they don't want to make any changes right now. But I'm actually seeing a big shift that many of them are wanting to make big changes, and you're thinking about, what do I want more of in my life and less of, what really matters to me, and people are actually going for it now. And it's so interesting to see. I thought for sure, I'm like, wow, no one's going to want coaching because everyone's broke, but I've actually had more consultations in the last couple months, like I said, than I had in at least the few months prior to that. So it's actually gotten busier for me, which was just so wild for me to see, and so encouraging for me to see that so many of us are now reflecting on and how important it is to invest in ourselves and to do things properly with the proper knowledge, and instead of maybe putting in those extra hours and wasting this precious time that we have to try to figure it out ourselves.
So with everybody contacting you and wanting to pivot and turn, could you offer out a couple points or some steps or anything that give a little teaser of how people can achieve these new goals?
Yeah, definitely. I think it depends a lot on what you want to do and everything like that. But I am a strong believer in utilizing the online. So social media, I find, is a big barrier for many massage therapists. And I completely get this because I've spent a couple years intentionally growing my social media and my groups and all of that. And so I get how lost you can feel, but it is a big barrier for many because they feel overwhelmed with what to post. They don't know what to post. They don't know if anyone's watching. The whole elusive hashtag is kind of annoys people. And it just seems really daunting. But I've personally found my social media to be super helpful in several instances. First of all, to increase just my brand awareness and for people and clients to see that I am knowledgeable. I post demo videos of my massage techniques and of me talking about certain techniques. And I think that really shows that you're passionate about what you do and that you really care about what you do enough to put your face on camera and get through that discomfort that people might feel from doing video.
Yes.
And then if you have like a contract where, unfortunately, so many of us can't or not allowed to tell clients that you're leaving to a new location. So social media is a great way to just make it so much easier for if you do want to make a transition, to train your clients to know that they can reach out to you in an independent manner if they so choose. That means you're not, breaking any rules by reaching out to clients and saying, hey, I'm moving. But at the same time, you're just showcasing that you are a professional, that you are making it easier for your clients to get a hold of you and to know who you are. And when I did move clinics this last time, I had been active on my social media for about 6 months before I left that clinic. And I would say about 3/4, maybe half, many of my old client list, they did find me through social media and follow me to my new space without having to say anything. So I think it's super powerful.
So when you are moving a clinic, leaving a clinic or wherever, and you can't tell clients that you're leaving, what is that conversation then like? Because here in Ontario, we legally have to say, this is where we are, this is where you can contact us, because I'm in charge of your care and your paperwork. But you can't say like, okay, follow me, but you have to at least say, this is where I'll be. So that's a big difference, I want to say, between our provinces.
Yeah, it is shifting, but that is, I don't know if it's because we're an unregulated province, but I do have my own personal thoughts on it. I don't really agree with, clients being seen as, property, keeping them in the clinic. I feel like that's really not a good approach to a client's health, and a scarcity mindset, thinking I have to keep all these clients in the clinic for myself, when treatment is such a personal thing. And I don't agree with us not being able to tell clients that we're leaving. So it's like the agreement between contractor or contractee is more commonly than not that you can't, that they are, the client list is like the property of the clinic. And that if you move outside that you no longer have like the rights to it. So I don't accept that at this point in my career now with this last space I was in, because it sounds like you guys, it's very like half kind of independent, but some things are teamwork. And in this new space, I was very clear, like this has to be a fair arrangement. I'm not okay with not telling clients that I've left. And I feel like that goes against how I want to represent myself and my reputation, just abandoning your clients, right?
Yeah, it kind of makes it sound like, and the perception to the client then too, I would feel they would feel like they're a number, more of a number, and their clinics are only thinking of the quantity of people coming through the doors versus the quality of their treatment. And the goal is no longer your care, but you as a number.
Yeah, you as a revenue stream, as opposed to you're coming here for care. This is my business, but your health care is different than my business model. Like they're different things. We talked about this in a podcast. Yeah, non-solicitation does not fly here in Ontario at all. You can't, in theory, be like give somebody like. It's kind of like a gray area, but if they have the clinic you're working at, if you leave. You have to give notice that you're leaving, and you have to give the clients the ability to understand that where their files are being kept, whether that's at the clinic or not, doesn't really matter. And they have to be given the ability to continue their treatment plan and their care plan, either with that clinic or with you. The clinic can say, if you'd like to find them, you can go find them on the internet, because we have a online register with the CMTO where you can literally just type in someone's name and it tells you their most current and up-to-date information for where they work. A lot of clinics will kind of just be like, oh, they've left, you can come see this person. And then it's sort of up to the client. But we do have the ability, if we do not feel like the clinic is taking the ownership to continue that care with a client in the manner that they ask, like if they say, where did they go? And that clinic knows where they went and they withhold that information, we do have the ability, if we want to sort of overstep that and have the ability to contact clients if you sort of want. I actually had incident where I had to get a lawyer, like a employment contract lawyer, to help me through a whole thing of non-solicitation and restrictions on where I could and couldn't work, because they also can't impede in like a radius. Like if you worked here, you can't work like across the street.
Yeah.
Like none of that's allowed either. So I had to hire a lawyer. So I was lucky enough to learn that firsthand, and I had been in the business like 7 years by this point. So it wasn't like new. I wasn't like new to the field, new to contracts by any means. Yeah, I've always had a problem with that model where like these clients are owned by the clinic somehow, especially since like you, I've been pretty busy most of my career. And it's like, your massage business is busy not because of you, it's busy because of me. Like the reason these massage clients are coming back and I'm booked 6 to 8 weeks in advance is not because they like the smell of your diffuser. It's because they're coming because I give them the care they need and they're getting what they need from me, and I've done all the legwork, right? So I feel you with that 100%. I always have, and that's why I'm on my own, because I was unable to find within the sort of area that I'm in that fit. I did have it at one clinic, but it was too far away. So I had to give that up. But yeah, no, that's why I'm on my own, because I couldn't find anywhere that really jacked with those morals and values. So
yeah, and you know what you're talking about is what I'm experiencing with a lot of the consultations that are coming in, is that now that there's all these additional costs with PPE and extra cleaning protocols and things like that, there's a lot of disillusionment with the costs that are being put onto the practitioners, and some of them are feeling like now this is the time for me to go into my own space because my commission is being lowered, or I have to pay for all of my own PPE, or like pay extra fees to pay for this stuff like in the clinic space they're in. And I'm seeing a pattern here with a lot of the clinics maybe in Alberta or elsewhere, I'm sure, that there is sort of a, like for example, there was this one story where I had a client saying that she got some oil on this pair of sheets and the sheets got stained, and the clinic owner was saying that you have to pay for these like damaged sheets, right? So there's like this penny pinching kind of scarcity kind of feel to a lot of the complaints and the complaints that I'm getting and the concerns that I'm getting from clients that are thinking of moving to their home-based businesses, because a lot of this is cropping up now, like the distrust and the discord between clinic owners and contractors, and it's like it's kind of coming to a head with the friction now, I think, because of the pandemic too.
Adding to the stress when we should be coming together and finding more ways to work together and be collaborative. I know as RMTs, some of the hardest things for us to do is be that quote unquote salesperson at time of rebooking without it feeling gross in a sense, you know what I mean? Where you feel like you're selling them a pitch. So is there any little bit of advice you can get how to make that more of a genuine interaction?
Yeah, this is actually my bread and butter. I love this topic. So I'm so glad that you asked. I've actually got to accommodate the clients that can't afford the one-on-one training, I've got a small like rebooking PDF, like instructional PDF for sale too. And I've sold quite a few of those, and it's great because it's just some pointers of things that I say and how I say them so that it's authentic to me and I don't feel salesy or weird or awkward doing it. And I think it's important. One of the most important things that I see in the pieces that are missing with so many of us, and not just in the health industry, but many of us suffer with this, is a self-belief that we are worth what we charge and a self-worth. Many of the issues that I see coming from people feeling awkward or salesy, asking to rebook, is that they feel like the client can't afford it, or that maybe the treatment wasn't good enough, or they're not experienced enough. And there's just all these comments that I'm hearing that all center around am I good enough? Am I skilled enough? Am I charging too much? Do they actually want to come back? And so a lot of what I like to focus on, even before I give like the rebooking tips, like the things that I say, why I say it this way, when a client says, I'm going to book online instead, or some kind of like objection, these are other things I like to say. Before I get into that whole kind of funnel, I first like to start with a really strong foundation of doing what you can to increase your own self-worth and self-belief in what you do and your knowledge, because that is really the most important factor. And even if I were to teach all these other pieces that come afterwards, that would all just kind of be fragmented and crumble away if you don't really believe in yourself.
We want to thank Miranda for joining us today. It was really great to have you on and discuss Massage by Mir Consulting. Thank you for sharing how we as massage therapists can be better in our practice and serve our clients better. If you're interested in learning more about Miranda and her consulting, please visit massagebymirconsulting.com. You can check out her 6-week coaching program where she'll be one-on-one with you, giving you in-depth sales training, how to be more impactful within your business and stay laser focused. You'll also get access to her Facebook group where you can discuss with other consulting clients and other practitioners to learn more. You can follow Miranda at Massage by Mir, and again, you can visit her website at massagebymirconsulting.com. Thank you again for joining us, Miranda.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Massage Therapy Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
If you have any questions, drop us a line on Instagram at the.mtp. You can share this episode with your friends, family, and colleagues by posting a screenshot of the episode to your stories and tag us.
Be sure you are subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast so you can hear more episodes.
If you would like, please leave us a review and comment where you can. We would love to hear from you.
We'll talk to you next time. Be kind, be well.